What is going on, guys, and welcome back to Walk and Talk episode number 2. In this episode, I wanted to talk about something that I believe should be fundamental in everybody's life, and I believe is fundamental in my life, and something that I've been working on for a very long time. Those 4 things are relationships with the people that are important to you, mental health, physical health, and nutrition. And while I believe that there are many other fundamental things that we should all focus on, I wanted to talk about these 4 in particular because they're some of the most important things to me in my life. I also believe that it's something that not as many people hold as a high priority nowadays in their lives. And I think that it's for a number of reasons. We get so caught up in our work lives, in the stressors of our lives, whether it's because we have a new family with kids we have to take care of, or we're so caught up in paying our bills and we're underpaid that we're struggling to keep up with everything. It could be for a number of reasons. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to talk about these fundamental things that everybody should focus on. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So mental health is something that everybody should be working on. At the end of the day, we all have struggles in our lives that affect our mental health. And I think that it's just something that the vast majority of people don't even consider in their lives. Is we go every year to get a doctor checkup, to check and see how our body's doing, but we don't check and see how our mind's doing. And we do that through a number of ways. And by the way, everything that I'm going to talk about moving forward as well can help with your mental health. Having healthy relationships with other people, working out and focusing on your physical health and focusing on your nutrition. These are all things that are going to help maintain having a good mental health. And while I feel like a lot of us don't particularly understand how these things can affect our mental health, I feel like another way that we don't try and maintain a good mental health is stress management. You know, a lot of us are constantly having to treat our mental health because of the stress that we're undergoing every single day. And at the end of the day, we're not going to ever be able to avoid stress in our lives. And stress is also a very important thing to have in our lives. Struggle is a part of who we are as people. It helps us become stronger. But it's also important to understand when there's too much stress going on in your life. And when it has a negative effect on your life, it's important to address those things that are creating the stress in the first place and to set it to a minimum if possible. And that could be a wide variety of things. I think that the biggest thing that affects our stress levels is work. And especially given the last couple years, everything that's gone on, stress has become a huge part of work for a lot of people, myself included. I work at a hospital as a security officer in a relatively large city. And we have just been absolutely inundated lately. Every single day we come in, we are slammed, and it's tough. And it's draining. And at the end of the day, I work at a hospital. I want to help people. And you know, I want to do the best I can at my job, but it's draining. And at the end of the day, I have to understand that, and I have to be able to address it and try and set it to a minimum. And if you're out there, you're working a job that is stressing you to the point where it's having an irreversible negative effect on your mental health, it might be a time to start looking at another job or changing the way you look at your job or how you handle the stress that's at your job, or in just changing certain things in order to adjust or fix the stress that is occurring in your life because of your work or whatever it may be. One fantastic adjustment that we can make to the stress in our lives is seeing a therapist. And I think it's something that everybody should do. And it doesn't have to be on a weekly basis or even on a monthly basis. It could be a biannual thing, where you see a therapist once or twice a year. At least I think that's how you define biannual. Anyways, at least find somebody that you can talk to, a third party that you can just get it all out and tell them what's going on inside your mind and get some professional feedback. I think that that's something that everybody should do. And I don't think that there should be a stigma about having a therapist. For a lot of people, having a therapist is a private thing, and you don't see that with a regular a primary care physician or attendant. Everybody is able to talk openly and freely about how they have a primary care doctor. But when it comes to having a therapist, everybody kind of keeps it on the down low. And I don't think that should be socially acceptable. I think you should absolutely be able to talk about, yeah, I went to my therapist last week and it was fantastic. I really got out what I wanted to get off my chest, and I feel so much better because of it. And I want that to become the norm in conversations among family, not necessarily coworkers. Coworkers would be nice, but sometimes you want to keep certain things private, and that's totally fine. But just reducing the amount of stigma there is to having a therapist, because personally, I believe everybody should have a therapist. And that is because we are not perfect, and we always have to work on our mental health. Every single person does. Nobody has a perfect mental health. And that's part of being human. And sometimes it helps to just talk to somebody. And with that being said, sometimes it doesn't even have to be a therapist that you talk to. It could be family, it could be close friends, just somebody to talk to, somebody to get your thoughts out, and somebody to challenge what goes on inside your head. Because sometimes that's all it takes, is to be able to talk to somebody and get it off your chest, or have somebody challenge you on your thought processes to make you realize that, hey, maybe I'm overthinking this, or maybe I could be doing it this way to help myself. And that's the beauty of it, is just having somebody to toss around ideas or to just get something off of your chest. Another thing that I think that we don't focus on enough, and especially because of our new common lifestyles, our new common sedentary lifestyles, is physical health. And that has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of what we do nowadays involves sitting down. Most people sit while they work, they sit while they eat, they sit while they drive from work and to work, they sit when they get home and they watch Netflix or whatever it is. And there's just not enough physical movement in our lives. And I think that needs to be understood, first of all, that we're not getting enough in our lives, and it needs to be supplemented for a lot of people, because not everybody has the luxury of having a job that's physical, and most of us would prefer not to have a job that's physical. So one of the things that I struggled with and still do is confidence, and working out, for one, has boosted my confidence. And it's changed how I talk to people, it's changed how people perceive me, and overall it's made me feel so much better about myself. When I first started working out, I was maybe 138. I was 138 pounds at 6'1". I was very, very thin. And while I felt fine, I mean, I was very athletic, and I felt fine, it's just, I just didn't feel confident in myself, because I physically felt like I was undernutritioned, or I don't know. And people used to comment on it, commenting on how thin I looked and all these other things, and whether or not that was appropriate on their end is a different discussion. But at the end of the day, working out has made me feel better about myself. I feel more confident about who I am, what I look like, and it's made me feel a level of accomplishment. Like I accomplished something great. I I worked on my body, and I made it better than what it was. And it was through sheer work, nothing else. I didn't cheat, none of that. I had to work hard to get to where I am, and it makes me hungry for more. It makes me want to keep working out because I've seen my progression. I've seen how much better I feel after working out, that it makes me want to keep going. And the beauty of working out is that it doesn't have to be something expensive. It doesn't have to be an expensive endeavor. While all these industries are pushing on you buying this and buying that and getting a membership at a gym and all this other nonsense, while all these things are nice, they're good implements to have, not everyone has $1 million to spend on a gym or equipment. So, but here's the thing, working out can be free. There are so many things that we can do right here, right now, that is healthy forms of exercising. We can run, we can walk if we want. We can find rocks and use rocks to lift those things as weight training exercises, or pick up a log, or all these things that are totally free. Body weight movements are another great thing. Push-ups, pull-ups. I mean, the list goes on. And all these things are totally free. Do you know how many rocks there are in this world? There are so many rocks, it's amazing. And the great thing about rocks is that they're all different shapes and sizes. You can pick and you can choose which size is perfect for you and what kind of shape you want, and all these things. And it's like then you start lifting the rocks and you build relationships with the rocks. And you're like, this rock is better than this rock because I can do this with it. I can do the shield carry with this rock, and this rock's a little bit more round. Anyways, that's the mind of a strongman, or a strongman fan, I should say. But yeah, no, that's the beauty of working out, is that it doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, it can be pretty much free. Ultimately, at the end of the day, in order for people to increase how long they live for, the longevity of their life, physical health has to be a priority. If you look at the muscle density of somebody that's in their 30s and you compare it to somebody that's in their 70s or their 80s, it is dramatic how much of a difference there is in the muscle density. A 30-year-old has so much more muscle that it's very apparent the moment that you see the pictures, and it really does show that in order for people to live longer, healthier lives, you have to have muscle to support you. And that is through protein, that's through working out, that's through nutrition, and a number of other things. And so we have to keep moving. Our bodies don't want to have muscle on our body if we're not going to use it. It'll get rid of it. And so we have to keep moving. We have to keep physically training ourselves. And that is the fountain of youth. The fountain of youth is protein and muscle. It really is. And if you look at a lot of people in the geriatric community that are in assisted living homes, nursing facilities, their number one issue is that they don't have enough physical strength to support themselves independently, and so they become stagnant. They sit in a chair all day, and they just continue to depreciate and lose the muscle that they have in their bodies, and it just becomes this inevitable thing that just brings them down until it ends. And so we have to keep that in mind, that in order for us to sustain a healthy lifestyle, we have to have the muscle to support our bodies. But not only that, it's the number one reason why I work out is for my mental health. Everything else is a bonus, in my opinion, because I know when I've been skipping the gym. I know almost immediately. After a few days of not going to the gym, I start to become more irritable. I become more irritable towards the people in my relationships, and so, and my relationships are important to me. So, and I become more depressed. And once I start working out again, I almost immediately feel better. Almost right after I finish my workout, I feel so much better. And then my mental improves even more the next day, believe it or not. And so that is the number one reason why I continue to work out on a consistent basis, is because it makes me feel so much better mentally. I'm more friendly towards the people that are important in my life. I feel less depressed, I feel more motivated, and I have more ambition, and it makes me want to get out and be the best version of myself. Another basic in our life that I think a lot of us have sacrificed, unfortunately, is nutrition. And sometimes it's not through our own fault, you know what I mean? It's very difficult to eat a nutritional diet every day with everything that is available to us. You know, these big food companies know that most people prefer taste over nutrition. And so they've dialed into that. And so you go to the food store, or you go around any corner in a city, and there's fast food chains and foods chocked full of all these terrible ingredients like canola oil and sunflower seed oil and high fructose corn syrup and all these complex carbs and heavily processed foods. And we've lost the importance of whole foods, you know, like eating sweet potatoes and eating steak, and, you know, like from a pasture-raised cow, and all these different fruits and vegetables that are so important to us, you know, apples and pineapple and blueberries and blackberries and broccoli and all these other fruits and vegetables that are just so important and can be very good if prepared correctly. And that's the thing, you know, in order to eat healthy, it doesn't have to be bland, it doesn't have to be boring, but you do have to learn how to cook. And here's the thing, I'm a big dummy when it comes to cooking. I'm terrible at cooking, but I have learned easy recipes that also taste very good. And so they're not difficult for me to make. And at the end of the day, they're healthier for me, and they taste pretty damn good. And that's why I want to start making more cooking videos, is because I want to talk about different recipes that are relatively healthy and also taste very good, and they're easy to make. For people that don't have a lot of time to cook, or they're not confident with their cooking, I want to talk about recipes that anybody can do very easily and start a road to eating more healthy. But at the end of the day, and it's the same reason why I focus so much on my physical health, is nutrition has directly affected my mental health. I know for a fact that if I'm eating healthy foods on a regular basis, I feel so much better. I'm giving my body the fuel that it needs to feel good, to exercise, to mentally feel well. My gut flora is better. Everything I believe is centered around your gut. If you have a healthy gut, you are setting yourself up for success to feel so much better. And the more research that I do, the more I kind of realize this. And I just want to get this out there that I'm not a professional. You know, I'm not a professional in any of this. I'm in as much of a journey as anybody else in learning the fundamentals to life. But at the end of the day, what I have learned through my research, through talking to friends, through talking to other people, like experts, like I had a dietitian for a while, I had a physical therapist for a while. These are the things that I've learned and that I've found to be true, is that, you know, these fundamentals do help with my mental health, and that being concerned about my gut flora and eating the correct foods and making sure that my nutrition is good does help my mental health, and it will definitely help yours as well. So last but not least, I think that's something that everybody should hold important to themselves and focus on as a basic essential thing in our lives, is the relationships that we hold in our lives. And this constitutes friends, family, loved ones, your significant other. All these people in our lives are critically important. And I think that we should always be working on those relationships with those people, because they're such a fundamental thing to happiness. Everybody needs a support system in their lives. We are as humans, we are very social creatures, and while some people are more introverted than others, myself being included, as you can tell, I like being by myself on occasion, and more often than not, I like to be by myself, but I also need relationships, healthy relationships at that, in my life. And I need to, like everybody else, I need to focus on enriching and making my relationships with these people more strong and more healthy for me. At the end of the day, these people are our support system. They're who we talk to. They're there for us to lean on when we need help. If we lock ourselves out of our car one day and we need somebody to go and grab keys for us, or if we need somebody to talk to, or if we want to spend our leisure time going fishing or going shopping with a friend or just going to see a movie. All these things are so critically important to a happy and more fulfilling lifestyle. And I firmly believe that that's the same thing with a relationship. I think that everybody should focus on a relationship with your significant other and try and make it as strong as possible. Always trying to work with your significant other to make your relationship better. Sacrifice certain things in order to make that relationship work, because at the end of the day, no relationship is perfect, but it's essential, and it's essential to feeling fulfilled. And it's something that I am far from perfect from, especially being an introvert, someone that likes to be alone. It's been very difficult for me to be in a relationship with somebody. And I've been in a relationship with somebody for about maybe 6 months now, and it's a big learning curve for me. And I try to express that to her, and I try to explain that to her, that I'm trying to become better about being in a relationship. And I think that that's something that every single one of us has to work on, because none of us are perfect. But I truly believe at the end of the day, if we're always working to enriching those important relationships to us, our lives will be more fulfilling at the end of the day, and we'll be happier. So while I could go on, and I have this tendency to ramble, and I'm trying to be more cogent in my videos and getting across the topics that I want to talk about, I think that's going to have to wrap it up for this video. Thank you so much for watching if you got to this point. Being a very small YouTuber, every view counts, and I genuinely want people to enjoy what I'm making. That's first and foremost what I want to be important. I also want myself to enjoy what I'm making, and right now I'm absolutely enjoying it. I get to walk in a beautiful setting, and I get to express things that I think are both important to me, and I think that a lot of other people could relate to. But anyways, I'm rambling again. The sun is starting to set on me, and the mosquitoes are coming out with a vengeance. So I'm gonna wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching. Consider liking this video and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next week.
I don't know why you wanna treat me this way.